What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Supergirl. Got back from the theater earlier today. I'm recording this review later than I wanted to because, as you guys may know, Night of Champions was also today, and the show had already started by the time I got out of Supergirl, so I got to rush home and was just watching the show. And then, after the show was wrapped, I'll go and record my review for Supergirl. So, first and foremost, I have to say this, man, because this was shocking to me. There is nothing after the post-credits. There is no post-credits scene. There's no mid-credits. There's not even a mid-credits. It just goes straight to the credits, which shocked me because obviously, as you guys know, this has been the thing with comic book movies outside of Wolverine, Logan, and some of the other ones that come out between these two, like the Batman as well. Not the ones that are made by auteur directors or whatever. Like Marvel movies, DC, when they're inside their cinematic universe, we always get a post-credits scene. So I was kind of sad to the credits, even when I was working on Thursday and Friday beforehand when I was at work, I would purposely avoid the Supergirl screen until after I knew the time was up, just so I don't end up cleaning while the credits roll, and I ended up spoiling myself the post-credit scene for Supergirl, which it turns out was all for nothing because there was nothing after the credits. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was kind of shocking. So I don't know if this means that for the DCU, not every project is going to get a post-credit scene. Like I said, because Superman also got one as well. So I was just kind of and you kind of expected it. So that was kind of surprising for me, man. I don't know if this means for some of them they won't get post-credit scenes. Well, some will. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens when Man of Tomorrow comes out next in a couple. No, it's shooting right now. It'll probably be coming out in 2 years. Man of Tomorrow. I don't know if there's any other DCU movies coming out next year or anything, man. I don't think so. I think we got some anime stuff, and I think the Lanterns also drops then. Not sure. Whatever the case may be, and what the release schedule is for Gods and Monsters. Yeah. So that was shocking. That was kind of the biggest surprise for me, is that there was no IMAX screen. Not no IMAX. I saw a movie in IMAX. That there was no post-credit scene for the film. So just to let you guys know, there is no post-credit scene. So when the credits roll, you can leave. But yeah, that was shocking to see when I saw the credits. Anyway, let's get into the film. So now you guys this is kind of interesting. This was obviously based on Women of Tomorrow. You guys may remember that Supergirl was actually going to get a movie back after Flash had come out. They had a screenplay had already been written, and actually the screenwriter for that film had also returned to do the screenplay for this film as well. I do wonder that original Supergirl screenplay that was meant for who played her in The Flash? Sasha Callie? I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. But she was great, man. You guys know how much I loved her as Supergirl. So she was going to get her own film. That got canceled when James Gunn took over. And the screenwriter, and apparently that James Gunn loved that screenplay so much that they brought her back to do the screenplay for this film, which I thought was an interesting fact when I found that out a couple days ago. But yeah, this movie for me, man, you guys may remember my reaction. I was not super big on it, man. The trailers looked good, but I wasn't excited at the film the same way I was for Superman. I have no real attachment to Kara in general, man, because I've never read any Supergirl comics. I barely remember her in the Justice League cartoon series. I didn't even really watch it that much, man. She was also she also had a season in a Smallville. I think it was season 7 was Kara's season. I don't even know if I even saw any episodes from that season, but I do remember seeing the cover at Hollywood Video and Blockbuster. I remember seeing that cover for that particular season. But yeah, anyway, so this was more or less my real true introduction to Supergirl because, like I said, I had no real attachment, and I also had not read or planned to read the Woman of Tomorrow comic, which was also the main inspiration for this film. Now, me personally, man, I personally love the film, man. Well, obviously, I would definitely say Superman was a lot better, Superman Reign, whatever you want to call it. This was still a fantastic film in its own right, man. And I just gotta say, this film is such a vibe. We saw in the trailers that this film was obviously Guardians inspired in terms of its set design, overall vibe with the needle drops music and everything, man. That was more 80s. This feels more like 90s with its more punk rock aesthetic, man, with Supergirl and the songs that are playing, which I think all came from the 90s or early 2000s. Let me look this up. Because I shazammed a couple tracks because there were some really good tracks I used in this song, man. See, we got one that was. Did I actually mention any dates on these tracks? Okay, this is a 2023 track. Was one of the tracks that was played. This one was from. Another one was from. What is this one? 06 for "Don't Speak." And Genie in the Box. I think this Christina Aguilera was something that played. Okay, never mind. but yeah, most of the tracks sound like something that was from the 90s or the early 2000s, man. But it had a bit of a punk rock vibe, which I dug, man. This film is also just such a vibe, very 90s feeling, man. And I had a blast watching it. Anyway, So enough jibba jabba. Let's get into the actual films. So the movie stars Millie Alcock, if I'm pronouncing her name right, Jason Momoa, David Cornsweet, Evie Ridley, and many more. And the plot of Supergirl is when unexpected and ruthless adversary strikes too close to home, Supergirl reluctantly joins forces with an unlikely companion for interstellar journey of vengeance and justice. Man. So let's over the cast real quick. Now Millie Alcock, who I don't think I've seen anything she's been in previously before this film. I think this is my intro. Oh, well, besides Superman, obviously. I'm looking at her credits right now to see if there's anything in here that possibly. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I've seen anything she's been in previously, and this was more or less. She was in House of Dragons too as well. So this was seemingly my introduction to her, man. She was great, man. Now, like I say, I cannot speak to the accuracy of her portrayal to how Kara is in the comics because, like I said, never read any Supergirl comics. I don't really remember much of her from the Justice League cartoon series. I didn't watch. Like I said, I barely remember anything from her appearance in Smallville. This was basically my introduction to both her as well as Supergirl, as I mentioned before. But she was great, man. I loved her performance, man. And between her and Sasha, I feel like it's kind of unfair to compare the two actors because like they're kind of different portrayals of her, man. But I like them both, man. If you ask me which one I liked more, probably Millie. I might give her the slight edge over Sasha, but Sasha was great in her own right too, man. But yeah. Also, she fine, Loki, not gonna lie. She fine. Anyway, so yeah, Jason Momoa, as you guys know, I think this has been a thing almost for as long as he's been cast as Aquaman. People have been wanting for him to play Lobo. It's been a thing for years. Like I said, I think this might have been like something that people have been yearning for since he was cast as Aquaman, if not a little bit after the first Aquaman film. But he was great, man. He was great as Lobo. Like I said, I'm not very familiar with Lobo either. Like I said, guys, you guys know me. I'm not really a big DC guy. I'm mostly into Marvel. But he was great, man. Jason Momoa, he's not in the movie that much, man. He's kind of almost like glorified cameo in some points. Like I thought with how much he was focused in the marketing and whatnot, and how much of a big deal they made Jason Momoa as Lobo finally. I thought he was gonna have a bit more of a bigger role in the film, but he's really only in a couple scenes. But he makes the most of it, man, and he was entertaining. David Cornsweet is incredible once again. Superman. Listen, you guys know me. I mentioned this in my review for Superman. I love Henry Cavill. He is Superman to me. If I had it my way, Henry would still be playing him. But damn it, David is incredible in its own right, man. He is a close second for me, man. And in this film in particular, it reminds me once again why he is such an incredible Superman. Like I said, I prefer Henry. Henry is my guy. If it was up to me, he would still be playing him. Henry would still be Superman in the DCU, man. They would not have recasted him to begin with, man. But damn it, he's incredible, man. And I love David here, man. The handful of scenes he's in, man, he is absolutely amazing, man. And I just love his portrayal of Superman so much, man. Seriously. What an actor, man. Shout out to David Cornsweet. He's great. And Evie Ridley as Ruthie, if I'm pronouncing her name right. The girl that's like, that's Kara's companion, man. I thought she was really cool, too. Like, honestly, I loved her character, man. And I kind of hope she sticks around for any future Supergirl movies or TV series, whatever they end up doing next for Kara, or just the DCU in general. I would love to see her stick around because I really liked her, and I would like to see more of her pop up in the rest of the film. So yeah. The cast was great, man. The music, like I said, is great, man. The soundtrack itself, like I said, I was constantly shazamming tracks, trying to, man. But the score itself was also pretty good as well, but like they had some really good tracks, man. Fun fact, actually, surprisingly, I found out that actually for the final scene, which by the way, I just got to talk to not get too deep into spoilers. The final like action scene, which we saw bits of in the trailer, when Kara's finally wearing the Supergirl outfit, which looks amazing, by the way. It looked good in like the trailers, the poster we saw previously, but when you really get to see the series its full appearance in action, in motion, man, without her wearing like a trench coat over and whatnot, man, it looks really fucking good, man. They did a really good job with the Supergirl costume. It looks fantastic. Anyway, as I was saying, during the whole final sequence, man, like you guys remember how cool that one sequence with Superman is when he faced off against those various like LexCorp robots, and we get that like close up on his ass before he like heat visions everyone in the in his room, man. Imagine that dialed up to 20, man. With a splash of Zack Snyder visual sauce, I guess you can say, man. Because like this whole thing, man, because it kind of does the whole thing where it goes in and out, going into slow motion with close-up. It reminded me a lot of 300. Like it was shot and had that same visual language as 300 did, with like the slow-mo into zoom-ins and into close cuts, man, and then going back out again as Supergirl goes off, man. It's insane, man. Like they took that whole sequence from Superman and dialed it up to 20 for the finale of this movie when you see Kara just wrecking shit, man. man. It is fucking awesome, man. I had an absolute blast watching it, man. It was easily probably the highlight of the film, man, if I'm being honest. Like, that was probably my favorite part of the movie, was that final sequence, man, where you just see Kara flying all over the place, man. Like I said, it's like that one sequence in Superman, but they just dialed it up to 20, man. Plus added some Zack Snyder sauce in there for good measure, man. It was fucking awesome. So another thing I also really liked, and to confirm this as well, which you guys know I mentioned this in my trailer reaction, but I was kind of curious, but hoping we would get this. We do actually get to see the destruction of Krypton in this film, man. I won't get too deep into it, man, but I love those scenes which we did, like all the flashbacks we did from, you know, when we see what happened to Krypton, when she got to meet, when she met Clark for the first time, man, when she landed on Earth, man. All those sequences are great, man, and were awesome. My favorite parts of the film. We'll get more in depth about this sort of stuff in the spoiler discussion, man, but that stuff was easily some of my favorite parts of the film, man. I also love the set design for this film, man. Like, Kara's spaceship in particular, man, looks amazing, man. Like, I also wish we kind of figured out how she even got the damn thing, because it's like never explained in the movie where she even got this spaceship from. Like, did Clark give it to her? Did she just raid it? Did she steal it from someone else while she was in space getting drunk? Like, where did she get this ship? It's a cool ship, and I would have liked they had made some mention where she even got the damn thing from. But I thought but that was cool. Some of the other planets as well, we also get to see as well, man. I thought had really cool designs as well, man. Like, there's actually like this one scene that was gross, but also, by the way, there's this one scene that's funny. Is that actually Seth Rogen is in this movie again, once again voicing an alien, and it's just funny because when I saw him in there, I just thought of Alan from Invincible, man, and he's pretty funny in the couple scenes that he's in there, man. But that was funny to see the alien he played. But anyway, like one scene in particular is after they have this whole fight that happens on the spaceship with like some space pirates that tried to raid their bus on while she's traveling over to another planet to figure out where the guys are that poisoned Crypto. During that, when they land, she goes and grabs some popcorn, and like, bro, this was disgusting, but also kind of funny, where this slug-like alien is literally just shitting out the popcorn, and she gets a bunch of it, and then she's like, oh, it tastes like shit. It was gross, but the whole "it tastes like shit" thing got a good laugh out of me, man. And they linger on it too. One other thing I thought was really cool is that we actually get to hear a lot more of the Kryptonian language in this, man. Like, we obviously heard bits of it in Superman, which was the whole thing with the tape. And he finds out you will conquer Earth, and you'll be their god, or whatever Bradley Cooper had actually said in the actual message when it got translated. But we really get to see, like, having her full conversation with her parents, as well, when she also first meets Clark as well. We get to hear her speaking the Kryptonian language. Just, like, I don't know if this has already been, like, a pre-established thing in, like, comics or recently, but this is, like, the first time. This is obviously Superman is, like, the first time I've heard the Kryptonian language, and it sounds really fucking cool, man. Like, I would love, low-key, honestly, if we got, like, a whole show or a movie or something that took place on Krypton that was totally Kryptonian. Like, I think that would just be really sick, man. Like, I don't know if that would work or that would even, do well, but, like, I want to hear more of the Kryptonian language, man, because it sounds awesome from the bits we heard in this film as well as Superman, but mostly here in Supergirl. Now, as far as next film, one, like, I think I mentioned this earlier, but one, I wish there was more flashbacks in the film, man. I'll get more into specifics when we get into sports guide, but I wish there was more flashbacks in the film, because the bits we get there, man, are awesome, and I wish we got more of them. I will say my main critique of the film is definitely with the villain of it, man. I don't know how this dude is in the comics, or if they change, or if it's the same guy, they change villains or whatever for this compared to what was in Women of Tomorrow, the comic. But I found him completely forgettable. Like, the actor that plays him does a good job, man. He just reminds me a lot of like a Phase 2 villain, just sort of there through the plot along and very forgettable. I would say is like my main one, man. I will say is really him, man. But yeah, this is an amazing film, and I had a blast watching it, man. I don't know what's next for Supergirl, if we're gonna get like a sequel film, a TV show, or she's gonna fuck about in like, other projects or whatever. I don't know what they plan on doing with Kara, but I'm definitely intrigued to see what they have next for her, man, because I love this film, man. I had an absolute blast watching it. Now, as always, guys, I'll give you my final verdict, and then we'll get into spoilers, guys, so you guys do not want to get spoiled, leave. Anyway, my final verdict for the film is going to be a 9 out of 10, guys, and like I said, we are not getting spoilers, guys, like I said, leave now if you don't want to get spoiled. Anyway, so one thing I want to talk about real quick before we get into the stuff with Krypton, which is pretty much going to be the main thing I'm going to be focusing on with this. One thing I love, this was probably the highlight of Millie's performance, was this one scene where, which we saw bits of the trailer, when, you know, when they're on like this planet and they're trying to figure out where the guy is, man, more of like a slums area of this planet, where Kara and, you know, and Ruthie, how do you pronounce her name, comes in there and they're looking for her, and these two people, and they're in this bar, which the bar scene was pretty funny. Especially when Kara like spits in her hand right before she gets about to get to arm wrestling, man. That felt very nice. Like, do you remember that, man? Was that like when that was a thing back in like old 80s and 90s film, when when kids would do handshakes, where they would spit in their hand first? I don't know why that was a thing back then, man. It was weird. But anyway, as I was saying, during those things where they find the two people that are like run this bar, they take her back to her place to figure out where they're gonna find these guys. So they got this whole scene where they get there, man. She ends up like waiting around, and they end up poisoning her so that those guys can abduct her as well as the other girl as well. But of course, since, you know, Kara is Kryptonian, it doesn't really work. Just makes her feel like shit until she drinks some milk to help flush the poison out of her or what have you. But that whole scene was where they're like fighting, trying to get them out, and the guys end up just like escaping anyway after they kill the father, the mother, as well as their daughter, who was also already held captive. They all die, and, you know, she had this whole thing with arguing with Ruthie. Right? I keep forgetting how her name is pronounced, but like I said, I loved her. Where she's like, you know, about telling her about like revenge won't heal your wounds, which I don't know if I wasn't too. I mean, I will give it props that they don't do the whole revenge will soil your heart. Revenge will, you know, is bad and everything. It won't help you, man. It won't make you feel better, etc., etc., etc. They at least don't have Carl leave alone. She just kills him herself, which I thought was pretty cool, honestly. That Carl just does it herself instead. But I was like, all right, fair enough, fair play. Because besides, Carl already said that her heart was already fucked up because, you know, she witnessed the death of Krypton. She already witnessed her heart and her emotions had already been fucked anyway. Her heart had already been, you know, blackened anyway. But yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, that whole scene with Banner, after she has the argument of revenge, she flies all the way up to the sky outside of the planet and just screams. But obviously, as a tagline for Alien said, in space, no one can hear you. And this was probably the highlight of Miller's performance, where she is just letting out this guttural scream, letting out her emotions and whatnot, man. And you can see like one of her, and she's like crying at the same time, and you can see like one teardrop float around into space before she goes back down, man. That was probably the highlight. It was shot beautifully as well, man. Like I said, that was probably the highlight of Miller's performance to me, was that scene, man. It was directed to perfection, man. That was just cinema. Now, let's get on to the Kryptonian stuff, which is like the main thing, which you guys know, in my trailer, that was like the main thing I wanted them to focus on and hope we got to see, was the destruction of Krypton, because also we didn't see that in Superman, which we do. Now, one thing I thought was shocking, this is something I did not know. Now, I don't know if this has already been a thing in DC Comics with Supergirl and whatnot, man, or if this was something originally done for just this film. I don't know. You guys know I don't read DC. If you guys know, leave it in the comments. But anyway, one thing I thought was really interesting is that that obviously the planet still blows up because of the core, but this time Zor-El, what he did was he actually took like this one section of the city and basically split it off from the rest of Krypton, had it fly away along with putting this force field around it, and just had it like seeming like float around into space while the rest of Krypton destroyed around them, man. And because they ended up splitting this portion of the planet from the rest of it, man, it ended up like fracturing or whatever, causing kryptonite to there was a bunch of kryptonite that was deep into the soil in the core of Krypton, that it ended up just like slowly poisoning all the people around this force field that were in this section of Krypton that was left. They all slowly get poisoned and die, and this is when Zor-El builds a spaceship to send Kara back to Earth to meet up with Kal-El. And this whole thing I thought was super fascinating and cool, because like I said, I did not know about this, about, a part of Krypton being split off from the rest of it, and they just kind of were just chilling there till they all slowly started dying off from the kryptonite exposure, and then Kara got sick. Because for everything all I know was that, I'm pretty sure before, at least as far as I remember, was that Kara got shipped out the same time as Kal-El, and she just kind of fucked around in space for a while before she finally made her way to Earth or something. I don't know if that got retconned into this whole thing, which honestly, this is way cooler anyway than that. But I thought that was interesting, man. And like I said, like the whole time they're speaking Kryptonian, and I thought it was such a cool language, man. I wish we got to see more of it, man. But one thing I wish we got to see more of was when she gets on Earth and she actually meets Kal-El for the first time, man. And David, like I said, he perfectly exudes the awkwardness of Superman, where he's like, well, I didn't think this far ahead because she can't speak English and he can't speak Kryptonian. So he's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to, you can't understand a word from there. How am I supposed to communicate with you? And Carl's just looking at him like confused. Like that whole sequence where he's just like, fuck, what am I supposed to do? Was amazing, man. And I wish we got to see more of it. Like we got to see her, we got to see Clark actually teaching her English, her like first meeting going into Metropolis, her giving her the iPod, I'm assuming, which we see her using a couple times in the movie, man. Or like one time, I think after that she uses something else. Maybe she's using the iPod for everything. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, that was really cool. I just we got more scenes of her when she actually landed on Earth, and we got to see her and Clark bonding her, him teaching her the ways of Earth and showing her Metropolis. We see her like seemingly when she first got to Metropolis, or like one of her early times when she got to Metropolis, because she can like hear everything in the city. But I wish we just got more scenes of Kara and Clark bonding, and when they met up for the first time when she landed on Earth, man. The little bits that we get are so cool, man. I wish there was more. Like, the movie's under 2 hours. They could have easily filled an extra like 10 to 20 minutes of just flashbacks with her and Clark kind of messing around, him teaching her the ways of Earth and, you know, Metropolis and whatnot, man. That would have been so cool, man. That would have been such a cool thing. I also wish we got more scenes with her just bonding with Krypto. Like we obviously see her and Krypto bonding when she's on her drunk escapades, you know, going from planet to planet. Which one other thing I thought was cool is that they actually have like these little like title cards showing off the like which planet they're on, and actually mentioning what sun it is. Is it a red sun, a yellow sun, or in one planet's case, a green sun? Which I didn't even know that was a thing. And a green sun also apparently functions the same as kryptonite to Kryptonians, where it weakens them and basically poisons them. Which I thought was interesting, man, because like I said, did not know that green suns or even anything. I thought it was just yellow and red suns. So I was kind of surprised to find that on one of the planets to go on is a green sun and seemingly functions the same as Krypton. Which I also like the way they showed off like kryptonite attacking and like poisoning her, attacking like her blood. When we see like we get like those Microsoft like her blood cells and whatnot, we see the kryptonite like moving from one of her blood cells to another one. I thought that was really cool how they showed that off. The kryptonite affecting her and weakening her before she like pulls out like the arrows and whatnot, man. And she starts getting back to normal. I thought that was pretty cool. But I thought that was pretty cool with the little tie cards they have. But anyway, as I was saying, we get to see her when she's like at the start movie, we see her and Krypto chilling while she jumped from planet to planet. We also see how her and Krypto first met when she was still on Krypton. But we don't really get to see much. But we don't get to see much in between of that, where we see her bonding with Krypto and them forming a bond with one another. We just kind of just see the beginning and where they're currently at. We don't really get to see them. There's scenes when she like is like playing with Krypto or just bonding with him originally, which I thought it would have been cool to see that as well. Like the scenes with her and Krypto are great, but like I would have liked some more showing off like them bonding earlier on when they were still on Krypton, or even when she first started moving, when she had first moved to Earth. That would have been cool. Anyway, so yeah, man, I think that's about everything I want to talk about Supergirl, and this review ended up going a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, man. Anyway, as always, leave your thoughts below in the comments, guys. What you guys thought of Supergirl? Are you hyped for Man of Tomorrow like I am, man? Looking forward to seeing how that film turns out, man. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe for new. Follow me so you feel like it. Links are below, and as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.